The business of professional sports isn't some feel-good sisterhood. It's a ruthless, high-stakes arena where only one thing truly matters: your ability to drive real revenue. For the past 25 years, the WNBA has been a league of passengers, bleeding hundreds of millions in losses every single year, surviving purely on NBA subsidies like a charity case. Yet a group of veteran players built this delusional sense of entitlement, convincing themselves they were untouchable global icons. Then, Caitlin Clark arrived like a storm. She didn't just join the league, she transformed it, shattering attendance records with Fever games packing over 17,000 fans, tripling average viewership to more than 1.2 million per game, and injecting massive economic value, accounting for roughly 26.5% of the league's surge in tickets, merchandise, and TV deals. She's not just a player, she's the revenue engine the WNBA desperately needed. But instead of gratitude, the old guard turned hostile, launching a year of resentment and subtle sabotage. What we're seeing now isn't a fair labor negotiation. It's a high-risk power play that's backfiring spectacularly. The WNBA is threatening to derail the entire 2026 season, demanding guaranteed max contracts for everyone, league-funded luxury housing, and a hefty slice of gross revenue. Their latest counter dropped from initial 50% dreams to around 27.5% in proposals. They claim the flood of new fans is loyal to their unity, not the star that brought them. With today's March 10 deadline looming, the league set it to protect the May 8 tip-off, and the weekend saw frantic proposal exchanges but no handshake yet. A strike or lockout could delay drafts, free agency, and even expansion for Portland and Toronto. But the veterans' whole strategy just got obliterated by the one player they tried to sideline, Caitlin Clark. Without firing a single shot or starting any drama, she bypassed the WNBA's toxic mess entirely. She stepped into Team USA's training camp in Miami, now heading to Puerto Rico for the FIBA World Cup qualifiers, and the emerging footage shows pure, quiet dominance. Pure joy fills that gym. Smiles, laughs, USA chants, no ego clashes, no tension, just elite pros loving the game at its peak. Viral clips are racking up millions of views online, with fans exploding over her performance and the electric vibe. Now, contrast that with the WNBA's current chaos. Heated union Zoom calls in February, vice presidents like Kelsey Plum and Breanna Stewart leaking private letters criticizing leadership's lack of player involvement, Alicia Clark warning a strike is still on the table, and 80% of players unemployed in the offseason, begging for deals while execs play hardball. Clark's presence at camp is a calculated checkmate. She's proving she's the drama-free premium asset, signaling to sponsors like Nike and Gatorade, networks like TNT pivoting to FIBA rights for her glow, and billionaire owners like Adam Silver, Matt Ishbia, and Joe Tsai that investing in her pays off big. The toxicity plaguing women's basketball isn't systemic. It's manufactured by a small, insecure faction terrified of losing control. Let's break down their real market value, no sugarcoating. You can't bluff billionaires when you have zero leverage. The veterans tried to prove they could stand alone by launching unrivaled 3-on-3 as their independent showcase. Result? Total flop. 2026 ratings crashed significantly, finals and playoffs down sharply even with additions like Paige Baker's and late Angel Reese cameos. TNT execs panicked and bailed, realizing the Clark wave was the only real draw. Players like Aaliyah Boston got injured in meaningless games, turning it into a financial and physical disaster. The market verdict is clear. Without Caitlin Clark, they're invisible on national TV. Now flip it. When Clark steps on the floor, magic happens. Her games averaged 1.2 million viewers, 200% more than non-Clark matchups. League-wide viewership held steady at a 3% increase in 2025, despite her injuries, showing her massive ripple effect. Team USA footage of her dominating is exploding online. Owners are doing the math. Clark equals market capitalization, infinite leverage. If no deal by the end of today, with proposals still flying but sticking points like housing and revenue share beyond 15% remaining, owners won't cave. Why?
Clark is fully insulated. A strike or delay ruins the veterans. Lost paychecks, fading relevance, defaults on those demanded leases. Clark loses nothing. She redirects her loyal million-strong fan base straight to the FIBA World Cup qualifiers starting March 11th on TNT. Global stage, high-stakes games with stars like Aja Wilson and Brianna Stewart, zero WNBA politics or flagrant fouls. Ratings will skyrocket, just like her college-to-pro explosion. Peel back the layers. This isn't about working-class athletes fighting greed. It's raw envy at play. For decades, the old guard ruled a tiny, unprofitable kingdom, dictating locker room rules, demanding rookie respect, controlling narratives. Clark shattered it all. An Iowa kid who broke records, drew new fans who ignore unwritten rules, landed massive endorsements, and made veterans culturally and economically irrelevant overnight. They're terrified of her fully healthy Year 2 dominance. A lockout steals her prime, quiets the hype, punishes the new audience. Internal cracks are showing. Union unity statements clash with private letters and player pushback against strike risks. But Clark counters with untouchable class. In her media availability, she said, "This is every kid's dream. I wrote it down in 3rd grade. Whether it's the World Cup or Olympics, every part of the journey is special." Humble, reverent, acknowledging legends like Kara Lawson, she positions herself as the eager pro, not entitled. By refusing the villain script, she exposes the union as the real mess. Leaks to ESPN, divided ranks with a 93% strike vote but growing fissures, self-sabotage over scraps. As March 10 ticks down, no final term sheet yet, just frantic back and forth. The WNBPA holds a self-made detonator. Billionaires aren't watching the veterans, they're locked on Clark, orbiting safely in Team USA glory, ready to dominate globally and generate hundreds of millions. Pull the trigger? They won't be labor heroes, they'll be architects of epic self-destruction, alienating fans, torching the $2 billion media momentum, handing owners permanent leverage. When the dust settles, Clark remains the supernova draw, the bitter old guard, obsolete, unemployed, regretting the biggest financial blunder in sports history. Sports business is brutal and absolute. Generate revenue or get replaced. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is the union's drama fueled by pure Clark envy? Will owners force a crush at the deadline? How massive will Clark's FIBA debut ratings be while the WNBA scrambles? Hit subscribe for the raw, unfiltered truth on sports power plays, the boardroom battles, hidden agendas, stories mainstream media dodges. Share this everywhere. Stay locked in. Next one's coming soon.